So the question I chose for my project was what happened to the Neanderthals, and I thought this would be an interesting topic because I didn't actually know myself, so there was a lot of research I could do. It is not actually known how the Neanderthals became extinct, yet many people have hypothesized many different things, such as climate change, violence, parasites and pathogens, competitive replacement, and interbreeding. The first of these I'll be looking into is climate change. Climate change is one of the simplest explanations for the extinction of the Neanderthals. There are two real events which one could consider when attributing the extinction to climate change. The first of these is the volcanic eruption. The eruption happened nearly 40,000 years ago near Naples, Italy, and that resulted in 200 kilometers cubed of magma being produced. This meant that there was a vast reduction of plant life. This would have been catastrophic due to two reasons. The first of which would have been the magma and the flow of the volcano would have resulted in the death of many Neanderthals, which would have put them in an endangered situation. The second means is less direct. The magma flow would have resulted in a vast reduction of plant life. This can be evidenced as sediment layers in some certain caves suggest a severe reduction of plant pollen. This damage to plant life would have led to a corresponding decline in plant-eating mammals hunted by the Neanderthals. Because of this, the Neanderthals would have become slowly extinct as a result of the adverse conditions they now faced. The second instance of climate change which could be attributed to the extinction of the Neanderthals is a period of extreme cold. A group of Gibraltar Neanderthals, which are some of the first ones to be discovered, coincided with a glacial period within Europe. Because of this meant that they would be suffering cold conditions, such as those seen on the picture on the left. These cold conditions would put them at a severe disadvantage and could eventually drive them to extinction. The second potential explanation for the extinction of the Neanderthals is due to violence. Much like climate change, this is also another simple explanation and was first hypothesized by a French paleontologist in 1912. Violence was common between societies, such as the Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. This was usually down to a lack of resources, likely related to natural disasters, such as those aforementioned. Neanderthals would have come into conflict with Homo sapiens. At the time, Homo sapiens would have been more advanced than the Neanderthals, and this would have meant that they would be able to conquer them easily. This would have meant that the Neanderthals would have become extinct due to their lack of numbers. A third explanation for their extinction would be down to parasites and pathogens. This is a more complex explanation as it's largely due to contrasting levels of immunity between the Homo sapiens and Neanderthals. Homo sapiens and similar tribes would have carried pathogens into Europe from Africa. Homo sapiens would be immune to the diseases as they had been exposed to them heavily, but they would still be carriers. The Homo sapiens would then carry the diseases towards the Neanderthals as they are supposed to have lived in relatively close proximity. The parasites and pathogens combined would have potentially resulted in mass death. Yet another probable cause could be down to competitive replacement. Competitive replacement takes place over thousands of years and would have been the marginalization of the Neanderthals in comparison to the Homo sapiens. This is down to specific genetic advantages. It is because of these advantages that the Homo sapiens were more efficient than the Neanderthals. There are three main examples of this. The first example is down to division of labor. Middle Paleolithic Homo sapiens often divided responsibility between sexes, whereas all Neanderthals typically participated in hunting. The lack of labor division resulted in less efficient extraction of resources by the Neanderthals. This has been posed by two anthropologists at the University of Arizona. A further example is the anatomical differences between the two. Neanderthals were typically shorter in stature, which meant that they required 8 to 12% more energy when walking and up to 30% more energy when running. This is due to Homo sapiens' robust knees, long heels, and shorter lower limbs, which made them far more efficient. This lack of efficiency meant that they required a higher energy intake. The last example is down to hunting capability. Homo sapiens utilized domesticated dogs for hunting up to 33,000 years ago. Rabbit became more available at the time, whereas Neanderthals' prey became more sparse. This meant that the Homo sapiens were able to marginalize the Neanderthals as they were able to gain a wider variety of prey to survive on. The last probable explanation is interbreeding. Interbreeding is not likely the sole cause for the extinction of the Neanderthals, but it could be attributed to a proportion of it. This likely occurred 50 to 60,000 years ago. Interbreeding refers to the breeding between Homo sapiens and Neanderthal, and can be archaeologically evidenced. One example of this is Lago Velho 1, as seen on the right-hand side. This is a Portuguese specimen of a child which was found, believed to be a result of Neanderthal and human breeding. Modern studies conclude that DNA found in some ethnicities could be explained with interbreeding for Neanderthals. Neanderthal DNA is present in most humans outside sub-Saharan Africa, as well as a few populations within sub-Saharan Africa. To conclude, it is not certain what the true cause of Neanderthal extinction is. There are likely many solutions, including ones not being mentioned. These solutions could be used in combination to explain any given cause of the extinction. Research is still being collected for stronger evidence, yet there is still no certain answer.